Hey everybody, welcome back. Coffee Mug here. I'm getting ready to finally finish up my Factorio base. This is the last of the, just kind of checking where I'm at. I got 28,800 for all my sciences now, except for this one and Prometheum science. So this is my final planet, and I've been honestly not, maybe not dreading is the right word, but just thinking about how I want to do my scrap management. So I had this running for quite some time. And this worked really well. This did about 50,000 scrap per minute, roughly. And I had kind of a train base set up where, I shipped everything out. And then I had some upcycling stuff over here, which has gone through many iterations. But I wanted to do something a little more efficient than this, because with this many splitters, I know that can be a pretty high UPS cost. Plus, just kind of thinking about how I might need, probably need roughly 5 times as much scrap as this. So I'll need roughly 5 times as much scrap as this. And I don't really want to have to set up 5 of these throughout the base. And I wanted to make a much more efficient scrap recycling facility. And so I started playing around here. I'm still not entirely sure how I want to solve my scrap problem. I was just testing out different scrap methods. So I think I'm at level 21 right now. I know this goes up to 30. I was playing around with different beacons and stuff just to try to think about what I might want to do. I got these each going about 25.7 per second, going full speed. I found that if I go much faster than that, I run into this problem where I like it doesn't output onto a belt, and so I'm not quite sure how to solve that. I thought about maybe like taking these like inserters and going directly off the recycler, but I'm not sure that's the right choice. So this was just something I was toying around with. I have this gear inserter exporting. So I've been letting this run for a little bit now just to see how fast it would go. That's why I had shut off all my other scrap. It's doing about 3,090 scrap per minute. So just kind of thinking about how much I need, I set up my planner here just to start doing some calculations. And so I have up here, this is my target, obviously, which I'll need. I'm going to probably do 4 stacks of 5, so 77,200 each. Looking at the scrap I need, it needs 253,605. And that's, of course, at level, it's actually only 20 right now. Or roughly 200 this is so much scrap. 262,000 per minute is how much I have to do, or I need 19 belts of scrap, which is just this is more than like any other planet, which is why I was kind of like nervous about this. It does go down. I know eventually I'll be able to get this up to 300, and that does drop by about 25% with these last couple levels, but that'll be a while because those scrap productivity research things are very expensive. So I want to be able to manage it now and be able to do it at this current level without planning ahead. And I was thinking about how I might do this, or I want to see if I can set up 4 different stacks, kind of like I've been doing with my other sciences. So each individual stack will need 65,000 roughly. And so when you take that 65,000, let me calculate, 65,514, and you divide that by 3090, you get 21.2. Basically what that means is that for every half stacked belt of science, I need basically 22 of these lanes. And it's kind of annoying because I also need, if you just kind of look at the scrap values, I need 4.5 lanes of scrap. So basically I was thinking like, what's a good multiple of 5? So I'll probably do like 5 lanes of scrap, and then do each lane of scrap will have 5 of those pairs of recyclers. So I'll have 25 outputs, and the rest, I'm still not quite sure how many beacons and stuff I'm going to do, but I know I'm going to have, if you kind of look at my output here, I'm going to have 25 of these lanes coming out like this, and that's going to be quite annoying. I've been messing around with like stacking these just to kind of reduce the amount of material on each. I don't even know if this is necessary. I think this is just going to be a waste because I was thinking about how I want to do this. So if we kind of go back to my planner here, it's still fine. That goes so fast. All right, so let me pull my planner back up. Okay, and so what I was thinking is how I might approach this is I might actually, using kind of water as an example here, if I'm gonna have 25 lanes of stuff, like maybe it makes more sense to have like less beacons and more facilities. Like here, if I don't use any beacons, I need 20 of these chemical plants melting ice. Does that make sense? Like maybe because my other option was to use a whole bunch of splitters to like separate out the ice, but maybe I can just have an ice facility off of each belt without using any beacons. And I think that may actually be less UPS cost than trying to split out the ice individually. So that's kind of what I'm thinking I might try. Plus here, this isn't even interesting. So like when I'm doing this much scrap, I'm making, I'm only using 1,500 and I got 8,200 extra. I can maybe just like not even use productivity modules in some of these, and that gets rid of some like recycling I have to do, because there's almost no need for productivity because so much of this ice is going to be going to waste, right? And so that's kind of what I'm thinking and how I might approach this. I might play around with these beacons and think about what actually makes sense as far as do I need to use this many beacons, and can I pull off each lane individually and then kind of combine at the end. So that's just kind of where I'm at as far as how I might do this build. I have no idea how I'm going to approach this, just because the scrap management is so complex. So I'm probably just gonna, I don't know, mess around for a while, and I don't know how much of this I'll record and put it in the video. So I may just like tool around for a couple. It's gonna take me a couple hours probably, so I'm just gonna tool around for a bit, see if I can come up with something I like, and then I'll kind of check in with you once I start coming up with the more defined plan of what I want to do. So so I will check back in with you in a few minutes. All right, so I just finished up my first new attempt at a recycling design here. Let me kind of show you what I'm working with. So I just have a single belt coming in right now. I'll need more later, but if you look at how much processes, so there's basically 2 recyclers here, 2 here, 2 here, 2 here, and 2 here. So this gets down to pretty close to the end. The last one doesn't really work all the time, whereas the 9th one is pretty consistently working. So basically I have a little over 9 recyclers working, and then I have this repeated 5 times, so I'm gonna have 5 belts coming in, which should be about 45 or so recyclers plus, you know, the little half, so roughly 46 recyclers. According to my calculator, I needed 43 recycling to make enough materials, or 7,200 science per minute. And so this is just roughly, it processes about the perfect amount of scrap. And so how this works, you can kind of see it in action here. I have these filter stack inserters here with gears. This just gets a lot of the gears out early, because I have so many gears, it's just kind of unnecessary. And that helped the belt be a little bit less congested, I felt like, because sometimes it would not clog up, but it would sometimes take forever to get like the holonium or the holmium out of the recycler. So I just found that having this like this, and this just recycles away gears, is helpful. So you can see here I got a bunch of these legendary accumulators scattered throughout. I have an example here without them, just to kind of show you how it works. So I have the scrap gets outputted in this belt. I take out blue circuits, low density structures, and in solid fuel, because all of this right here is going to be used to make rockets and launch the rockets after I make the science, because I'm going to have rockets attached to the build. So that just gets out the rocket parts first, and then I have everything I need to make holmium solution and electrolyte right here. So the ice just grabs, to get water, I just grab ice off the belt, and then I grab the holmium and the stone here to make my holmium solution. The water is just bridged right there. Then also goes up and down throughout the array here, and that just connects all of them throughout the whole system. Then I have a heavy oil pump. This can really go anywhere. I just put it here because I thought this would be a good place for it. And then that pumps the heavy oil in. The electrolyte comes out this way. The holmium comes over here to make electrolyte, and then again pops out, because that's going to be used for science later. So that's kind of what the outputs are looking like for these 3 fluids. Then after that, the rest is I need to start breaking stuff down. So I do take batteries out first, because batteries are a high priority item. I want to make sure I get all the batteries that I can off. And you can see here where I have the outputs. I used that splitter design that I had earlier that I got from I think it's at VC on here on YouTube. So this just kind of stacks it up, because the materials on the scrap belt are not always stacked, and then I want stacked lanes coming out. So there I take the batteries off. Then this is my first recycling array here. This is enough to, I was playing around with how much I needed to get this to fully go to the end. And so this last one acts a little weird, because I don't know why. It's weird, that last one, but this was the exact amount I needed here to basically clear this belt and make it be moving consistently, is what I was kind of hoping for. Then this gets outputted here. Then I collect my iron, my copper, plastic, and green circuits. And all of those are the things that are needed to make both these superconductors as well as the supercapacitors. So that's everything I needed here. And so then after that, the rest just kind of gets recycled and then returned and then incorporated back into the filtered array until it ultimately is not needed, and then it gets recycled into nothing. Down here, I added this piece at the end. This just takes off stuff that's no longer needed, and that just kind of clears up the return belt. When I didn't have this here, I noticed I was getting this whole belt, this return belt would get filled with copper wire and other junk. And so this right here, I'm also taking some copper wire off, and I'm assuming I'll still get more than enough copper because I have so much extra copper. But this just recycles away all of the extra stuff and helps keep the return belt clean, basically. And that's what this last little section is for. This right here, when you look at the scrap that it produces, it does very consistently. I'd taken a break, but it does 14,400, which is basically a fully stacked green belt. Then I'm gonna have 5 of these here throughout. I don't like how big it is. If we look at it, this right here should do, let me do the math real quick. So 14,400 times 5. This does 72,000 scrap per minute. Right here. So this is 72,000. Compared to my earlier one, I mean, it's roughly the same size. It's like all of this without the trains. And it does, I think this one did 50,000 at max, but consistently it was around 40,000. So this does almost double the scrap, but it's also going to incorporate all the production I need for the science. And so the actual space compared to this is significantly smaller, given that I had to train everything around. And I'm going to need 4 of these to make enough scrap, because this right here does just enough scrap to accommodate a little more than it's needed to accommodate 7,200 signs per minute. So I'm going to need 4 of these. I'm probably going to put one here, one here, and then I maybe put the last one here or something. I'm not really sure yet, but definitely I need a large, maybe here is where I'll put it. Yeah, because there's a lot of maps there. So here, 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 and here. That's going to be my 4 locations. And then I started laying out what my science production is going to look like. It's basically just like the one I had up here was for my little intermediate base. This one did 1,800 signs per minute. And this worked really well. So I'm just going to do something similar. You know, nothing really crazy there. And so yeah, this is what my production is going to look like. And now I already have the electrolyte and the holmium solution that are going to come in from the sides here. Now I just have to make accumulators and supercapacitors, and I will have to make a few more batteries, which I have the copper and the iron for. Then I'm going to use the water plus heavy oil, and then do some cracking to get petroleum to make the sulfur for the batteries, and then make a few more supplemental batteries, and then I'll have everything I need for my science there. Just have to make the materials. I only need a few, like 2 or 3 of the superconductors and supercapacitors, but well, I'm gonna lay that out next. All right, so that's and also for the scrap, I decided just to use belts to run the scrap in. I figured it's not worth it to do trains. Honestly, it really kind of isn't. It just takes so much space to do trains, and you go through so much scrap. And I felt like it was better just to like build it in. So that's what I'm going to do with my belts. All right, so I'll check back in a few minutes once I get all of these scrap processing facilities hooked up. All right, cool. So I got my, what I think is a complete base here. I did swap some of these around, just change the order that I wanted them in because I want to get rid of the iron first. And so here's kind of what I'm working with. I have some heavy oil pumped in here. This gets cracked into light oil, and that light oil comes petroleum, which feeds the sulfur, which then feeds the sulfuric acid, which is then used to make batteries to supplement the other batteries from the belt, which ultimately become accumulators. So that's kind of what that sequence is for. The copper and the plastic make their way down here. Some of the copper is used for the batteries. The rest of it is used to make these superconductors, as well as and then the plastic as well. So that uses up all the plastic. Well, the holmium solution makes its way down here. That feeds this holmium plates. Then the extra holmium makes its way down. And then ultimately that's used here for the electromagnetic science. The electrolyte makes its way this way, comes down, is initially used here in my supercapacitors, but it continues out all the way down to the left side here of my electromagnetic science. The green circuits and more of the batteries are used here with these supercapacitors. The superconductors plus holmium plates, they're put on this belt, and that also comes down and feeds my supercapacitors. So they're running fast enough. The light oil makes its way through the superconductors down here, and then that gets combined with the solid fuel to become rocket fuel. So these are all my rocket parts. So here's my electromagnetic science production. I got 5 of these with the little tail here to make sure it always stays fully stacked. I got my alert to let me know if this isn't working or if it ever stops working for some reason. Then I got my 8 rockets here, which load up and then ultimately will launch. So let's have a look at a launch here. Ultimately, all I have to do now is build 3 more of these, and that'll hit my target. But I think the build itself is good. So it's nice. Everything launches evenly. I got the circuit network set up. So it loads evenly. The input only works when it's below the average in the chest. And there we go. Kind of a self-contained 7,200 in it. It's kind of amazing how much you need scrap recycling you need just to do that level of science. It's really quite interesting. When you compare that with your other bases here, like this is my Gleba base. I guess you can fit like 4 of these in here, but roughly twice the size as my Gleba base, and then definitely like 4 times the size of my Volcanus base. So it's a little disappointing. I wonder if there's a better way to do my scrap recycling. I don't know. I'm still not I don't know if I'd say an expert on it, but I still need a lot of work on this recycling. There's probably some things I can do to reduce the amount of recyclers I need, but I don't know. That's like a longer term project. I'm not sure. My brain is thinking of a better way to do it just yet. So I've been trying to do all these builds without looking at other people's builds, and so I might go look at some other people's Megabase Fulgore bases here, kind of see what they did. Because this, it consumes about 5 full belts of scrap, and for 7,200 science per minute, you need 4.5. So I know I'm consuming enough scrap. I just wonder if I can optimize the resource extraction a little bit. So I'm not sure I'm quite doing that. Oh well, that's I don't know if I want to worry about that just quite yet. Yeah, so that means once I get these built, my Fulgore base will be complete, and I'm kind of excited. I do kind of like the way this looks. It's nice and square and pretty. I could probably shorten it up here if I got creative, but I don't really mind a little extra space here. Cool. So that is my Fulgore base. I'm gonna double that and then start thinking about Prometheum science, because now that this is done. Yeah, so now that I got Fulgore basically done, I'm ready to move on to my final science, which is Prometheum science. So, and then I gotta clean everything up and kind of make my final base here. Awesome. Well, thank you for watching, and I will catch you in the next episode.